the studio to talk AFL as he does each and every week. Welcome.
Thanks, George.
Let's review last week, a slew of matches, and let's preview what's coming up this week. And we've got to start with the Cats' infamous victory over stunned Tigers. What did you make of it?
Well, I don't think anyone was expecting that. I mean, we had Dusty
we
had Dusty come back, we had Vlosten come back, and despite losing a couple numbers, Dusty coming back in, you'd expect big things there. But no, the Cats really, apart from a poorish first quarter by their standards, from then on they really evened the game up, and then in the second half went on an absolute tear, and the game was done before you know it. We saw just how potent that forward line of Cameron and Hawkins can be when they are in full flight. They took control, they dominated, their midfield got way on top, and Richmond just, un-Richmond like they just did not stand a chance. The game got slowed down, and they actually were the ones playing chase instead of the other way around. So it was really interesting.
Now, before we go any further, Richmond have had a setback this week. They've lost a couple of players in another late night incident at a nightclub. I'm not going to debate the rights and wrongs. I just want to run a line past you, and it was passed on to me many, many years ago. If you're out after 12, you're either looking for trouble or it's looking for you.
Yeah.
And of course, two young guys, yes, with their partners, they were protecting them, but got into trouble. And they're going to lose both players.
Yeah, well, they are going to lose Rioli and, of course, young gun Shai Bolton for 1 to 2 weeks because of injuries to their wrist because of the incident that happened. It's just one of those things, especially when you're a professional athlete, you just have to be so careful of. And even though it might have been a situation where they might have been doing the right thing and protecting someone else, as a professional athlete, you're in the limelight. Oh. So yeah, you just got to be very careful.
Last week I said to you, which St Kilda is going to rock up to play the Suns? And you said to me, maybe the good one. What happened?
We did get a good one. Well, we got glimpses of the good one, and we got glimpses of the average one. Gold Coast, they actually held it really well. They made the game really tight, and it was a game that we're not, this year we've seen a lot of free-flowing games. We didn't see a free-flowing game in this one. It was really tight, it was really contested, and St Kilda ultimately just had that little bit more there, and they come out on top.
What did you make of Essendon and the Giants? What a game.
Well, I was sitting there watching the game, and the Giants got up by 31 points really quickly, and I was like, oh yeah, for sure, this is looking like a flogging. And no, Essendon, they came back and they really made a game of it.
And they kept coming.
And they kept coming, and a late decision that could have very easily gone their way with a mark to Kale Hooker, who has been in fine form, could have very much changed the game in Essendon's favour, but the Giants hold on, they get a win, and that's all that's going to worry them in the end, and they're on a roll at the moment, the Giants.
And that indeed is the case at Collingwood. They got another win, much needed for their embattled football club, and their coach. My goodness, what did you make of this?
Even if it was against a struggling North Melbourne, I think Collingwood, given their recent few weeks, they just needed a win on the board. Didn't matter who it was against, and they did it in reasonably comfortable-ish fashion. There was a little stage there where North Melbourne come roaring back. They brought it back to about a goal or 2 goals, and you thought, okay, here you go, North Melbourne might actually jump over the top here, but Collingwood, their big guns started to get involved again. The Pendleburys, the side bottoms, the Darcy Moore, he had a huge impact after moving down back. And, we see Collingwood with their first win since round 2.
The team that everyone is now looking up and going, wow, the Melbourne Demons. They took on the Swans and they remain unbeaten.
Again, it was another tight game. Sydney really took it up to Melbourne and had their number for a little bit of it. And then Melbourne in that last quarter just went on a bit of a run, kicked a couple goals in a row and sort of just pushed that game out just that little bit too far and get the win.
I like that you said that they got on a run. They're not skiing anymore.
Yeah. No,
they're out here to play football.
And they're playing they're defensive, they're playing really tough, and their defensive brand of football has changed. They're starting to get numbers back behind the ball now, and then they are really running in waves going forward. As we've spoken about previous weeks, that Mark Williams effect, we've seen Richmond do that, and Melbourne are starting to do that now, which is very scary.
And it's also reminiscent of some of the Port Adelaide sides that Mark Williams was involved with. I've got to say to you, the showdown was anything but. It was a bit of a one-way traffic. not what you want to see in the local derby. Port Adelaide or the Power, too good for the Crows, who seem to have got themselves in. They started so well this season by shocking, one of the biggest teams in the competition, Geelong. But since that day, it's been like bumpety.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster with the Crows. They, as any young team actually has shown in the last couple of years. Like look at Gold Coast for example. Started off like an absolute house on fire, and then all it's taken is a couple losses in a row, and the form's dipped tremendously, and that's exactly what's happened with the Crows. Port Adelaide, they were coming off a tough loss the week before. I expected them to bounce back in a big way, and they got a pretty big bounce back here.
Eagles also in good form, up against Hawthorn, which seems to have found a level, and it's not the all-powering, all-successful, all-conquering one.
Yeah, no, we're seeing the rebuilding Hawthorn now. They're finding it a bit tough. They are in games, and then just as quickly as they're in games, they're quickly out of them. So, and West Coast made them pay in a big way. They got on a stretch where they kicked about 3 or 4 goals in a row, and before you knew it, it was 30, 40 points the difference. So,
should we talk about the Navy Blues? I thought we had the Bulldogs right where we wanted them until they ran past us.
The Bulldogs actually got off to a really good start, and then Carlton fought their way back. They got up to a 28-point lead, and we're looking, okay, this is the team that's arrived. This is the team we've been waiting for. And then I think the biggest fear for a lot of Carlton supporters, myself included, was if the Bulldogs got on a stretch where they kicked 2-3 games in a row, 2 or 3 goals in a row, what was going to happen? And we saw once they kicked 3 goals in a row, they roared past Carlton in the last quarter. They just stopped Carlton from everything they wanted to do, put immense pressure on them, and Carlton unfortunately stopped, couldn't handle it, and before you knew it, it was game over.
All right, and the last game of that round was the Lions up against the Dockers, and the Lions are pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, they were. They're starting to find some form now, the Lions, and this is all even without their reigning Brownlow medalist Lachie Neale. They're starting to really hit some form now, and those early season worries that we had about them, they are completely out the door now.
In the rearview window.
Yep.
Let's talk about now this new week. This is round 9. This is the serious end of the competition now. You should have gathered yourself. You should know who you are. Which St Kilda is going to play the Cats?
We still don't know which St Kilda, but St Kilda are going through. Well, we've just found out Zach Jones had another injury yesterday at training. He's done another hamstring, so that's a big loss for the Saints. So I think given the Cats running on a wave of momentum, especially from last week, I think they're going to get it done. Swans
against Collingwood.
Down at the SCG, I think the Swans are going to get it done nicely.
Ooh, okay. North and Hawks, very interesting.
It is very interesting. So we've got Hawthorn and North Melbourne, who are both contracted to play games in Tasmania. It's which Tassie team is going to show up. I think Hawthorn are just going to get it done.
Okay, Suns and the Lions.
The Q clash.
This is the Q clash.
It is the Q clash. I think Brisbane, the way that they're rolling at the moment, they look too strong for the Suns.
Giants and Richmond.
Well, Richmond definitely need a bounce back, and there's a big question here, especially they're playing at the MCG. Look, I think Richmond have shown, even though they've got numbers out, this is where they tend to step up, and when their backs are against the wall, they really come out and show their worth. So as good as GWS, I think Richmond are going to win. Third
plays second. This is it. Port Adelaide up against the Bulldogs. Who gets this one?
I think Port at home. I like the Bulldogs. Okay. We know how good they are, but I think Port at home, they're just a different beast, and I think they're going to get it done here.
Essendon, Fremantle.
I think Essendon gets it done.
Okay. Melbourne and our Navy Blue Boys.
Look, I think given the way Melbourne are playing, you have to back Melbourne.
They've got our number.
So.
And the Eagles should beat the Crows?
The Eagles should do it pretty comfortably against the Crows then.
Okay, there you go. Our man who's been wedded to the AFL all year, when he's not on the basketball field, Alex Caiafa, giving you the lowdown. And we wish you a top week. May our Navy Blue Boys play a little bit better and surprise the Demons. Wouldn't that be special?
Hope so.